This is Matthew J.R. Skaggs, host of Matthew's Classic Rock Rant slash, which has been called at times, Pick a Number. Hello, good afternoon. Good aftershave, if you will. What I am trying to say. Well, keep listening and you'll find out. My mission is to entertain, inform, and keep you listening. Today's show is audio only due to technical difficulties, but I promised you that I'd be on, and here I am. The story won't be like I normally have. I will be doing commercials and news. There's plenty of that going around, isn't there?
There better
So,
be.
anyways, here's one of my news reports. And by the way, all right.
All right, get it together, young man.
All right. By the way, the 10 cities with the cheapest gas have been reported as of about a week ago. Santa Fe, New Mexico, with $3.25. Albuquerque, New Mexico, $3.20. Boise, Idaho, with $3.16. Billings, Montana, with $3.14. And the number one place, that city that has the cheapest gas, Fort Collins, Colorado. And next to that is Colorado Springs, of course, Colorado, and then Denver, Colorado. Those are the three with the cheapest gas. So why don't you drive there and get cheap gas? Maybe not. But anyways, here's a commercial, because I'm going to be practicing doing some commercials. This is for Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. I think I'll take a visit to Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. Sounds like fun. There's a lot to do. Sharpening my golf game, perhaps. Hey, wait a sec. I better call John and Steve. You know, Steve. They'd hate me if I left them out. Count me in! Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. Now imagine that we're talking about Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. Imagine my friends and I relaxing by the pool after a day of hearty golf. John is on my right and Steve is on my left. And on their right and left is their wife and kids. It's a party! Count me in! Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. Now, imagine all that fun, good times. There's of course, the roulette table, the blackjack, and so on and so forth. My fantasy is now a reality. Count me in! Imagine all that fun. Imagine being with my friends, perhaps a short vacation. I've earned it, haven't I? I've been doing some research on how to better my chances at the blackjack table and the slots. My fantasy could very possibly be a reality. Count me in! Fantasy Springs and Resort. That's it.
That's it. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Now, here's a other version of what that could be. A little more on the serious side. Have you heard about Fantasy Springs Resort Casino in Indio, California? It's part of the Cabazon Band of Mission Indians. Go to FantasySpringsResort.com and discover what Fantasy Springs Resort is all about. With their huge 170 square foot casino. That's pretty big, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
2,000 plus slot machines. 180 video poker. And there's table games, blackjack, jackpot, pie, cow, craps, and roulette and more. Enjoy their fresh grill buffet. The Bistro. Joy Asian Cuisine. The Pizza Kitchen and Starbucks, and your favorite drink and beverage. Sign up for your Fantasy Springs card and enter to win a 2013 Audi A7. Fantasy Springs Resort Casino is easy to get to from San Diego, Riverside, and Los Angeles, right off of the Interstate 10 to the Golf Center Parkway exit in Indio. Then turn right into Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. It's easy to get to, like I said. Come and enjoy improv comedy on Fridays and Saturdays nights. Make your fantasy a reality. Go to FantasySpringsResort.com now.
Ta-da!
That's right. Now, here's another one for the casinos. Have you heard about Valley View Casino and Hotel's long-running mystery progressive jackpot? The $1 million colossal coin has already produced a number of jackpot winners already. That's right. You could win up to $1 million just by playing one of the 2,000 exciting slots at Valley View Casino. The colossal coin jackpot is guaranteed to hit between $10,000 and $1 million this year. Just use your player's card whenever you play on your favorite machine. Signing up is quick and easy and free. Plus, you get a free lobster buffet just for joining. Sounds good, huh? Especially the lobster dinner, huh? Plus you get a chance to automatically be part of the drawing.
Yeah.
And so you could win, and you don't have to be there. As far as what do you think? Do we have to be there? I'm not sure. But as long as you're in, you're a member or registered on your player's card, right. You're in. Good. Take I-15 north to the Valley Parkway exit in Escondido. Continue on Valley Center Road until you reach North Lake Oneford Road and turn right. Within a short distance, Valley View Casino Hotel will be ready to welcome you. Plus, on February 27th, which is only in a few days, get a chance to win a brand new BMW X1. All Players Club's members are eligible to win. Did you know that? Now here's a new commercial that I wrote today. Turn my old gold into plastic.com. Hello, friends. This is Tyrone. Old gold doesn't have to be so painful. I'm here to help you get rid of your pain once and for all. How? Simple. Just mail your dirty, nasty old gold to me, postage free. It's certified safe by old postage stamp workers, not collectors, workers. It's certified safe. So go ahead, just slip it in the slot and then lick it to be sure you've done it correctly. Listen to this recording of a happy customer, Mrs. Mayday, who say, "Yes, sir. It's not only safe, I recommend doing it often." Well, you see, folks, guaranteed it'll put a smile on her face every time you do it. Just do it. Go to lickety-split, turn my old gold into plastic.com. She'll be glad you did. All right. That was some pretty nice news, wasn't it? I guess. Did you know, have you heard about the news about the U.S. Postal Service? They're going broke at $25 million, losing $25 million a day. And they have reported that they intend to go on the apparel business and accessories. That means clothes, fashion. The current Postmaster General says if they don't come up with a way to make more money by October of this year, 2013, they'll be broke at a loss of $25 million a day because America are using emails and internet to communicate than the old, slow snail mail method. So get those young, so what their reason is to get the young, impressionable folks involved. They need something super duper like fashion postal worker gear. No dog or animal was harmed in the making of this news report. Did you know that? All right. Now, The Economist magazine reports on January 13th publication that companies like GE and other manufacturers are planning on returning their product distribution and manufacturing back to the United States because costs in China have skyrocketed at 20%, a 20% jump in labor costs per year. By 2015, the only difference between labor costs in China and the United States will be 10%. With a 10% difference, it will no longer be economically viable. It's just not that much of a difference. It's becoming more cost effective for companies to make their products here again. Can you believe it? Why? Add the cost of shipping across the ocean and the time it takes, and the cost goes up and up. So, well, I wish it was 2015 already. Reuters.com reported this last week. Half of the U.S. Air Force are now drones. Drones are unmanned airplanes that can reach their destination and targets without a pilot at risk of being killed. Also, the U.S. perfected drone fly bots, robotic pack mules, and drone worms or mesh worms. A fly bot? Do you know what a fly bot is?
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I do.
It's a drone fly.
I was going to say it's robotic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a robotic drone the size of a fly. So if it's buzzing around, you know, they're not going to be paying attention.
It only takes a robotic swatter at that point.
Well, that's right. But what have they lost? They got probably 10 billion of them to take its place. And plus, you used to say they're only going to send one. Hey, you got video?
Storm.
Is that video?
Yes, I got one working actually, believe it or not.
See, I knew that it was a miracle.
One, but yes.
Yeah, well, sure.
We're on.
Okay, now the other one, a mesh worm. It's a drone that crawls on the ground to spy on the enemy. They're getting pretty tricky, huh? And then the robotic pack mule. A robotic mule that looks like a mule? Can you believe that? I feel sorry for the enemy because it's over. Now, Reuters in the news also this week reported that 54% of all inventions or patents for the NEO technology patent applications and grants worldwide in 2012 were by American companies at the, in majority of them were at the University of California, Berkeley. Well, hello, Ryan. How are you doing? You might be interested in this. News report of this last week reported that 54% or 45% of all inventions and all patents for new technology that's coming out is all coming from the United States.
Wow, cool.
South Korea. All right. See, our man from off the camera, he always comes through with a big stick. That's a pretzel stick. South Korea is number 2 at 7.8%. Japan with 7.1%. Germany with 6.2%. China with 4.9%. Now, the world, it seems to me, really need the United States to really come up with these technology. Then they just figure out ways to steal it. Doesn't that seem like what's going on? This report was released by the McDermotts and Will and Emery, a law firm. You know, because I guess they were hired, you know, to make an analyst and do the research. Some of South Korean, Japanese, and German companies have offices in Silicon Valley and are considered U.S. homes of the invention. So really it's only 45%. There's about a 9%, give or take, that are foreign, but their offices or branch offices are in the United States. And I had on this on a separate thing, but the places that majority of the inventions are being developed at is Southern California, where I am right now. I'm in Huntington Beach, but The University of Berkeley is the main technology center. After that, it's the place, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Those are the ones, the main ones, and then IBM. But it's interesting that most of these places employ the universities to do a lot of their research. I guess it's cheaper than to have just a full-time staff doing these type of things. Scientists in Switzerland have discovered rust is a key element to make sunlight, solar energy more effective for converting solar energy into hydrogen. Rust. But that's kind of interesting because magnetic tape was also, the rust was the, in sound, where rust was the main ingredient that would make those work. You know, I mean, you remember anybody have to remember the experiments that Alexander Graham Bell had done. It had to do with rust. And they did a line and then hooked up 2 wires to it. So, who's that guy? What was it? Neil Young made that song about, you know, the rust. I can't remember. A British company has developed a method of generating a light source by the weight in gravity with a 20-pound sack of gravel. The gravity and pull, just from the mere pull of gravity coming down, will generate a light bulb of at least a 25 watt. And if you increase the amount of the sack being pulled down, it increases the amount of the light. Now, one of the first things that they wanted to use this for was in Africa and the poor third world countries, is because they don't have you know, money to buy light bulbs, candles, and that type of thing. So by purchasing these devices, the missionaries that are out there to help these will now have a light source pretty much cost-free. As long as they have a sack of dirt, and I'm sure plenty of them will be able to buy a sack of dirt, right? Do you have to buy it? I don't think so. I think it's free. Now, did I show you? We have video now. So here is a picture of one of the U.S. drones made by Boeing. Is this on? Can you see this?
Let me try zooming in.
Which camera is it? This one or the other one?
Hang on. Let's see. Should be that one. Oh no, I'm sorry. It is this one over here.
Oh.
Let me try zooming in. Okay, I got a nice close-up of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you see, it looks like a shark, doesn't it? Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it almost looks like this could be, it's actually a flying drone, one that's being advertised by Boeing. I'm sure that they have even more advanced prototypes than this one. This is one that was advertised in the January issue of The Economist.
Holy shit.
Now, hello friends, this is Tyrone Shoelaces again to tell you that being scared of your old gold doesn't have to be painful. I'm here to help you get rid of that pain once and for all. How? Simply just mail your dirty, nasty old gold to me, postage free. It's certified safe by old postage stamp workers. It's certified safe. Just go ahead, just slip it in the slot and then look it to be sure you've done it correctly. Listen to this recording of a happy customer, Mrs. Mayday Hussein. Yes? Sure. It's not only safe, I recommend doing it often. You see, folks, I guarantee it'll put a smile on her face every time you do it. Just do it. Go to lickety-split Turn my old gold into plastic.com. She'll be glad he did. Alrighty. Moving on along. Did you hear the commercial about... I think I'll take a visit to Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. Sounds like fun. There's lots to do. Sharpening my golf game, perhaps. Wait a second. I better call Ryan and Steve. They'd hate me if I left them out. Count me in, Fantasy Springs Casino and Resort. That's the big line. Now imagine my friends and I relaxing by the pool. See, we're here and we're the ones that's going to be relaxing by the pool someday. I can see the vision now. Okay, Steve on my left and Ryan on my right, and their wife and kids. It's a party! Count me in, Fantasy Springs and Resort and Casino. All right. Now imagine all that fun and good time with your friends and things like that. Perhaps a short vacation. I've heard it. I've been doing some research on how to better my chances at the blackjack table and the slots. My fantasy could very possibly be a reality. Count me in, Fantasy Springs Resort Casino. All right. Well, I can't very well do my facts and trivia because, I mean, who's going to, like here, try this one. Let's see what happens here. A band called Cream with Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce, and Eric Clapton sang a song entitled Badge in 1969. However, the original title was what? Breaker? Bragger? Edge? Or Bridge? Anybody?
I'm going to say Breaker.
Well, that's a good guess, but it was Bridge. George Harrison, we couldn't read the writing of Eric Clapton, and he thought it said Bridge. I mean, he thought it said Badge, but originally it was Bridge. Bridge is a big key aspect of music because it's what connects different melodies, different ballads, and you got to have that bridge, or else it's just a bunch of noise.
Right. Well, see, I was thinking it was either Breaker or Bridge because when they wrote it, it was after Harrison's wife left him for Clapton.
Well, that's right, but they still even with all of that, because now Patty cheated on George Harrison to marry Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
Now then she cheated on Eric Clapton to go with somebody else.
Yeah. But what I mean is, I thought maybe they were addressing like that whole issue, like the Breaker would either been like the two of them.
Oh, okay. Well.
Or then the bridge would be like that's the bridge between George and Eric is Patty. So those are
well, I don't know. It's kind of strange that I just subconsciously wrote down these other alternatives, which I mostly do. I usually write down the first thing that comes to my head and see what connects. Because if it took too long to create, it just wouldn't be any fun. If I did have to do too much research. Here's another one. The Edgar Winter Group released a song entitled Frankenstein in 1972. What was its original working title before it was recorded in the studio? Was it the Monster Song? Was it Edgar's Big Hit? The Night Instrumental or the Double Drum Solo? What do you think?
The first one was Monster Song?
Yeah, the Monster Song. It was originally called Frankenstein. Was it the Monster Song, the Edgar's Big Hit, the Night Instrumental, or the Double Drum Solo?
I'm going to say the Monster Song, or whatever that one was.
Well, that's a pretty good guess, and I put that in there intentionally because, Frankenstein and stuff. But originally, the working title was the Double Drum Solo.
Wow.
Because if you remember, in the middle there was a big drum thing that goes on. At the time in 19...
I'm not familiar with those guys.
Okay, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, was the reason why they recorded it was to demonstrate a central theme of madness with the sounds of clocks, ticking, people muttering, and heartbeats, and every studio trick the band could and its engineers could come up with to create the dark side of the unknown, or madness. However, this didn't stop the album from making new records, selling albums, and being played on the radio. Billboard charts reported the album has been consistently on the charts for over how many weeks? 700, 750, 800, or 850 weeks in a row.
I'll go out on a limb and say 850.
Well, it might be as of now because this was previous to 2000, and at that time it was 750. And so, how many weeks in 52 times, say 13? You know, they'd probably be another 500 or so. So by now, it's got to be probably close to 800, but the answer was 750 as of that date. Here's one that says John Lennon was killed on December 8th of 1980 outside of this place. Where was it? Was it his recording studio, his favorite place to eat, walking down the street in New York, or at his home?
I believe it's outside his apartment, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, so it was outside his home. Well, it's so funny that somebody was able to find that. I thought that was rather interesting.
Well, what's also interesting is after, what's his name, Mark, David, whatever his name was?
Graham or
whatever his name was,
yeah. Right.
He didn't even run away or anything. He sat there reading a book.
Well, I know. He expected, he wanted the notoriety of being the one that shot him. And I don't know, he wanted to steal his thunder, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if there's ever been an evil kind of a concept or and it's working, I would say that would be it. You know, somebody tricked him and brainwashed him because he said he had been reading the
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye, right? And I know I saw and heard about that book, but I don't see where the connection is. Do you?
No, and what's interesting is it's been declassified now that the CIA was watching Lennon all through that time too. So
Lennon? Oh, so they probably could have done something, or perhaps.
It's very possible.
Yeah. Well, all right, go.
Yeah, that's a whole other show. Yeah, I'm just saying. According to Jesse Ventura, he found out that the CIA was watching Lennon, and he says it's possible that whatever that guy's name was it Mark? Is it Mark David Chapman or something?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah, right.
It's possible he was a Manchurian candidate type guy. So
Right, just to get, they thought of John Lennon as a threat. I just don't.
something like that, yeah.
Well, you know, John Lennon was involved with a lot of things. One of the facts and trivia that I had in here was Timothy Leary, who was he was a government employee at the University of Berkeley, which I mentioned earlier, and they had paid him and funded the research on LSD. Now, once he discovered the LSD and saw what the effects were, he decided to try it himself because he was so curious about what the effect would have been. And as you can see, it changed him because he was like a ultra right-wing conservative, and then he became this other character altogether. And anyway, so he asked John Lennon that at one time Timothy Leary John Lennon asked him if he could write a campaign song for him because I guess he was contemplating running for office. Some office, I'm not sure what exactly. So to push and to propagate his political views on as far as LSD, drugs in general. And anyway, John Lennon came up with the song and the lyrics to come together. as and if you can remember what that was all about, it became a hodgepodge of different things about himself, that he was talking about. And after he was done, he recorded it and said, hey, well, this isn't going to do him any good for his political, because it was just too. But I think he recorded it when he was on the effects of the drug.
Huh, that's very possible.
Right.
So, anyways,
That's from the White Album, right?
yeah, I think so. Let's see. I wish I didn't have so much information. I would probably be able to remember where I wrote it down. Well, anyways, is anybody here familiar with Boss Scaggs?
Yes.
Has a similar name, last name to mine. Anyways, does anybody here know what he did previous to Silk Degrees? His Grammy Award-winning album that came out in 1975.
He was Steve Miller's guitar player.
Yeah, he was Steve Miller's backup guitar player. And, anyways, Silk Degrees became so well known and popular. Now, I'm just guessing here, but the backup band that he had at that time, or turned into a band, was...
Did the mailman come? Mm-hmm. Oh, shit, okay. I was just going to drop off my Netflix, but I'll just do it when I get home.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent album, but it's strange that he didn't have another follow-up that was just as good.
Right.
What happened was that the band didn't expect that album to do so well, and so he primarily produced it, and he pretty much made the majority of the royalties on it. Well, the band was a little bit PO'd, and left. They went on their own year called Toto.
That was his backup band?
Yeah, that was his backup band.
Wow.
I mean,
He had some good songs, too.
right, but didn't it strange? It sounded like him minus the voice. And yeah, they had a few, but it's strange that whenever those hits come about, the one thing, like I mentioned last week, that has to do with any successful music of any kind, is that it doesn't have to necessarily be about anything. It doesn't, as long as it rhymes, matches the music, the tempo, and
Thus, our popularity of Rihanna,
yeah.
who doesn't know what the hell she's saying.
Oh, by the way, Boss Scaggs has a new album coming out March 5th of this year, which is in about a couple of weeks. And he'll be touring. He produced the album with Donald Fagen of Steely Dan, also with Michael McDonald of the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
And but all of those guys are singers, so it's gotta be great.
I'm sure. It'll be like when Steely Dan came out with that Two Against Nature, or whatever that one album was that won a Grammy years ago and nobody ever heard it. I think it was like 2002 or something. Steely Dan came out with this album called Two Against Nature or something like that.
And it just was came on.
It was not on the radio at all.
Yeah.
There was like no real promotion for it except for get the new Steely Dan album on TV. And then it ended up winning all these Grammy Awards.
Right, and then that probably boosted the sales.
Yeah.
Well, the band by themselves, when they play, it won't be that necessarily Boss Scaggs. It'll be called the Dukes of September. That's the name of them.
What is it?
It's called the Dukes of September. Okay. That's Donald Fagen, Michael McDonald, and Boss Scaggs playing together with some studio musicians.
So they're doing like the supergroup thing.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't mention that. I thought you meant it was going to be like Boss Scaggs.
Well, he produced it, so it'll be under Boss Scaggs' name.
But the album will not be, right?
No, the album is Boss Scaggs, but Dukes, Boss Scaggs with the Dukes of September.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. And I'm sure that they're probably sharing the royalties on this album.
I had no idea that Toto was his backup band.
Yeah, it was Toto. If you remember one of the big hits that they had,
Rosanna?
right? Yeah, Rosanna. Yeah, it sounds just like
That one sounds like a Boss Skaggs song. Yes.
right. Because it was written when they were together, but Boz Scaggs wasn't the one that sang it.
You're right.
Now it's not to discredit Boz Scaggs because when you have a certain combination, certain talents, it's magic. And like Toto, why didn't they have? But I think that personally that they should have stayed together. And just
Boz with Toto, you think?
right, they should have stayed together and did another album, but just renegotiated.
Maybe, yeah.
The royalties
But
aspect of it.
Toto ended up being one of the biggest bands of the early 80s.
Well, yes, it did. Yeah, it did. But
really need Boz.
well, that's true. But as far as staying power, I mean, it's the test of time.
Neither of them had it, then, if you look at it that way.
Well, but anyways, Boz Scaggs, he did have a few other hits at the time, but not anything close to Silk's Degrees.
I was going to say, other than, ooh, I wonder. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot of other Boz Scaggs songs that you can name off the top of your head.
Well, yeah, there's Lido.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Low Down, you got a Grammy for Low
That's
Down.
the one I was just singing, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so Low Down and Lido, and then after that, what
Well, the whole album is actually good. The whole entire album.
Yeah, I'm aware of that,
Degrees.
but I'm just saying, and then you look at Toto, and they had Rosanna, they had Africa, and I want to say they had 2 or 3 more hits that were pretty big in the 80s that they're probably still collecting royalties on. So
Now here's a little trivia. The first electrical vehicles were built by 2 French brothers, or I should say steam. 2 twin brothers, Francis and Freeland Stanley, put together it was called the Stanley Steamer.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow,
The Stanley Steamer
really?
was put together by these 2 twin brothers. And it's interesting that almost everybody that before they built cars were building bicycles. And they used, the equipment and things that from bicycles. Even the Wright brothers that were working on the plane used bicycle parts.
that's right. Yeah, you see those old footage of them like doing the running with the bike.
Yeah, you use the pedals and stuff.
Yeah.
To get it going. Now people would think that even them, however, they weren't the first to use steam with a car. It was around 1769 was the first recorded steam powered vehicle. But I would say that it's probably been used way back thousands of years ago, but we don't have any record of it.
Not for a vehicle.
Well, maybe not, but they used it for a lot of special effects, to move big, heavy stones and stuff. They discovered that, even during the Roman Empire aspect, they used steam for various, displays. But none of them really used it as a power or energy source. They used it more to demonstrate, cleverness and being slick and awe the masses to keep power. And they would just go, how'd they do that? So anyways, these 2 brothers, these 2 French brothers made, once the way it worked was that once the water got to a boil, their car would drive up to 150 miles an hour.
What?
150 miles an hour. And this was like they built the Stanley Steamers from 1897 to 1925.
This was a car?
This was a car. The steam and electric cars and steam vehicles actually were the majority of the vehicles being driven around the turn of the century. But when Henry Ford came out with the Tin Lizzie, he undercut the price for the average steam or electric vehicle at that time that could reach over 100 miles an hour. I mean, even at that time. was about $800. That's what it cost. Well, right, it certainly was. Well, Henry Ford came out with a vehicle, which was around the same price. But then he found out that it was too competitive for people to want to buy. So the following year, he came out with a new price of $350. And so that made it affordable for just about anybody that was working to buy one. Now, credit was not used at that time. You paid cash on the barrel.
Right.
Credit didn't actually come into being until I think it was like the 30s or 40s. Well, that
was other means of credit. Anyway, yeah, you're right.
Well, you could have, but you would have to back it up with some kind of collateral and stuff. They didn't have credit as they have today. There was no credit cards. There was no plastic. Anyways, the Stanleys, the brothers, they set a new land speed record of 127.66 miles per hour on steam within around that time, around the turn of the century. In 1906, that's the exact date. 1906, they developed steam or hydrogen, I guess it could be. So that would go 127 point. The problem with it was that it would only go a short distance, because once the water, the weight, the amount of the water, once it burned up and turned into steam, you'd have to replace it. So I suppose you could just stop at somebody's house. Hey, can I borrow your hose? I'll buy 10 gallons of water. How much for the water? Okay, 10 cents a gallon. Well, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, here's a buck.
Here's $1. That's $1.
I wonder if it's possible to develop those now.
Oh, sure. I mean, they've had over 100 years to develop these methods. The monopoly on the what is it, combustion engine?
Yeah, internal combustion.
It's been overplayed. They need to, as quickly as possible, to change the economy on our transportation based on oil.
That's going to be almost impossible, though.
Well, they say that that there's a percentage by 2020 they will be, well, actually by 2015, which is only a couple years away, they will have sold over 1 million electric cars that will be on the road.
But electric, okay, but
what?
Okay, but if you look at it from the aspect of the economy, how's it gonna be sustainable?
Well, because it's an electric vehicle, you can plug it into. Right now, do you know with the new technology, you can. It used to take 8 hours. You'd have to plug it. If you had an electric vehicle, you would have to plug it in. The lights, one of your sockets in your garage or whatever. It would take 8 hours. Well, there's new technology now out that they now use on electric vehicles, not hybrids, solely electric vehicles that will charge your car up within 15 to 30 minutes.
Holy cow!
That's all. Now that's today, 2013. Within 2 years, they will have the technology where you won't even have to plug your vehicle in an electric source at all. Every time you drive it, it will automatically recharge itself just like a combustion engine does. Because that's how our batteries stay working and charged up, is because of the alternator generator system that we have. It recharges the battery every time. Now, if your vehicle was to sit there in the driveway for 6 months, you'd probably have a dead battery.
Oh yeah.
Because you drive it on a regular basis, but nobody sits there afraid, oh no, what's going to happen if I don't drive my car every day? You could probably go a couple of weeks or a month or two and not worry about. Now, the battery technology now has improved just in the last year. Did anybody here see President Obama's State of the Union address? In his inaugural address, he just said that the technology for batteries has improved dramatically in the last year or two. And what's available today will revolutionize the transportation industry. It's
so these plane tickets are going to finally stop being so damn expensive, or what?
Well, if they start using electric power for the planes.
That's a taller order, though.
Well, what it is that you ever seen those electric your match bar, not the match bars, but the slot machine. You ever seen those electric cars that go on the track? They used to sell, and with the little
handgun. Yeah.
Right. Well, you take that same motor, enlarge it to the size of a combustion engine, and you will have, just imagine the thing spinning like this big. That will create enough energy to power that vehicle wherever you want to go, as far as you want to go. They have them now. It's just that it costs you at least $100,000 for that vehicle. One of the manufacturers is called Tesla.
Right. Yeah.
And it's right here in Irvine, California. They're building the cars. They go up to 200 miles an hour.
Wow.
But I'm not sure if the technology on those particular autos would be considered the state of the art, just like with the new technology. But it's possible as the new models come out, they could, because I'm sure the technology is available and for sale on the open market. I'm sure those companies are being sold.
How much does one of those Teslas cost, though?
About $100,000.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but the prices are going down.
Good.
But they're really cool-looking vehicles.
Oh yeah.
There's another one called I think it's called a Fisher. Mm-hmm. That's electric as well, and it looks like a sport, like a Maserati, or it's a sports vehicle. And that's a hybrid of gas and electric. Now, Ford is advertising a hybrid that they have that's a combination of gas and electric that will get 47 miles per gallon.
Yes.
Also, they have a vehicle that will get 100 miles an hour, or not an hour, per gallon. But because of the electric hybrid technology that's implied. Oh, by the way, the Henry Ford sold between 1908 and 1928, which is a 20-year period, an incredible, what do you think, what it is? Was it 2 million cars, 5 million cars, almost 16 million cars, or almost 20 million?
I'm going to say almost 20 million.
Well, pretty close. He sold almost 16 million vehicles.
Dang.
In those 20 years. So, I mean, that's a lot of those old Model Ts. 20 million?
It's huge.
I mean, but you figure how many of those are probably still running. A lot of them, the engines, they threw away and they, put a new drag racing car or engine into it. And but there are a lot of those Model Ts or those type of vehicles that are still around. So, by the way, did anybody ever hear the saying that no one is truly superior than another person?
I don't think I've heard it that way, but okay.
Well, anyways, it says, no one is truly superior to someone else. The only person we can ever be better than is ourselves, or what we previously were before we had our change. Well, anyways, there's an actual saying by Whitney Young, I can find it, which it says, no one is superior to another unless Yeah, it's the same message. Anyway. Here's another of the trivia things. Substitute by The Who, released in 1971, was a song about substituting themselves for someone else for the moment. They get the glory and everybody else has to take a back seat while they're on stage. That's what they said. What lyrics are in the song? Is it, I'm a substitute teacher, nobody gives a damn, Sam? I'm a substitute for the other guy. I look pretty tall, but my heels are high. 3, substitute this boy for less of a man. Hell, just give me your hand. Or, I'm no substitute. I'm the real McCoy. Don't you know, boy?
So you're
Yeah, I'm asking which of those lyrics are in the song.
I'm a substitute for another guy. I look pretty tall, but my heels are high.
Yeah, that's right.
Simple things you see are all complicated. Look bloody young, but I'm just backdated. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's good because it says that those are some of the more popular, well-known lyrics of all the Who songs. That in my generation. Tommy Jones and the Shandells recorded a hit called Money Money in 1990. Is that how you pronounce it?
Money.
Money Money. How did he come up with the theme and the title to the song? Was it after his girlfriend Money? After a girlfriend named Money? From an advertisement sign on an insurance board in New York City, Mutual of New York? It sounded like Boney Maroney, or he couldn't spell very good and misspelled money.
I think it's that last one.
Well, believe it or not, it's from a Mutual of New York insurance company. Had a sign, a billboard that said M-O-N-Y with the dollar sign in the middle of the O.
What?
Yeah, he was looking for the name for the song, and he went out on his balcony one day, way back, and it was in New York penthouse, and looks up and he sees that, and he went and got his manager and says, "Come here, look at this," and they said they bust up laughing because that was the title and name what they needed.
Oh, but the billboard misspelled the name.
Well, yeah, the billboard itself, it says M-O-N-Y.
Okay, so technically, the second one and the fourth one are kind of right together in a way.
Yeah, that's right, because the actual Mutual Omaha misspelled, the insurance company misspelled money, and
that's funny, because I mean, you gotta wonder if the guys from that company, every time they heard that song, they knew that they were getting made fun of or not.
Well, I'm sure, I hope it helped them, but they still use that advertisement. That, as far as I know.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've seen it on billboards.
That's wacky.
Well, here's another trivia. It says the band Kansas released Dust in the Wind in 1977. Kerry Lindgren, the songwriter, guitarist, said he got the idea from a book written by an American Indian about a certain topic. What was this topic? 1, blanket making, basket weaving, tomahawk making, or poetry writing.
Okay.
Well, it was a book that he got the thing, Dust in the Wind.
Yeah.
He got that line from a book that was written by an American Indian. OER is Dust in the Wind. But was it in a book about blanket making, basket weaving, pottery, or tomahawk making?
Oh, pottery. I think you said poetry.
Poetry. Yeah, poetry. And I didn't put pottery. I said pottery should be.
I think the obvious answer there is poetry.
Yeah, that's right. It was poetry. Poetry by American Indian. Oh, yeah, I should have said it. Well, anyways, and George Harrison wrote a song released in 1968 on the Beatles' White Album entitled While My Guitar Gently Weeps. when he played it to John and Paul, they told him to forget it. But they changed their mind when George brought a guest guitar player into the studio, and they changed their mind. And they all of a sudden took notice. Now, who was that guest guitar player? You'll probably catch this because, you know, there's only certain people that they... Well, you already, I think, said it before. Was it Jimmy Page, Keith Richards, Pete Townsend, or Eric Clapton?
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I think he's the one that plays the guitar or something.
But what's so interesting about this is that even after he took his wife, they still professionally stayed as friends.
Yep, they called themselves husband-in-laws.
Yeah. And then I suppose a few years later, they had a lot to talk about when Patty did the same thing to Eric Clapton. I mean, he wrote a lot of songs.
Who did she leave Clapton for, do you know?
I don't know, but it was probably another musician. I mean, Leda and, you know, he both of them wrote a lot of music. And it's kind of funny that the other one, they would ask the other one to help them with the songs that they were writing about their hardships or heartbreak. Here's an interesting fact about Sympathy for the Devil. Released in 1969, started as a kind of folk song with acoustic guitars, but ended up as a mad samba, as Keith Richards called it. Who the band changed the rhythm and beat to the song? Was it Charlie Watts, Bill Wyman, Mick Jagger, or Keith Richards?
I'm going to say Charlie.
Yeah, you're right. Charlie Watts did. They had been playing it for a while, and Charlie would say, you know, and he did that a lot of times with the songs that they were working with.
Yeah.
And it's just really amazing that the hits that they didn't start off anywhere close to what they ended up being. And it was somebody had innovation. Like, for instance, Aerosmith, what was it, the lead singer? Steven Tyler and Joe Perry both said that most of the music that they recorded and played in the first few albums were all done out of anger. That they were mad at either each other, their manager, their girlfriends, their wives, somebody, and they, you know, decided to release that anger on the album or albums. Here, I think that's where here it says most of the hit songs that came out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s came together by trial and error. Mostly determination that they were going to make it work by playing around with it until it sounded like music. But I call it magic, because when you have all the right elements in the right place, it becomes magical in the way it makes you feel.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, Sheila was concerned that some of this stuff would be wasted, you know, without them being here. But you know, I got plenty more where that came from. Now here's another interesting one. It says, "What were the original lyrics to Steppenwolf's Magic Carpet Ride, released in 1973? Was it, I like my job, I like my baby? Was it, do you want to go joyriding tonight? Or was it, I like you, you like me, don't trip on the carpet or you'll go for a ride? Or for, there's magic in the way that carpet rides air." These were the original lyrics before someone said
before you don't know
before the magic, you know, why don't you come take a ride on my magic carpet ride? Okay, was it I like my job, I like my baby? Do you want to go joyriding tonight? I like you, you like me? Or there's magic in the way that carpet rides air?
I like you, you like me.
Well, no, it was I like my job, I like my baby.
Weird.
Yeah, it doesn't even rhyme.
No, and it doesn't sound like it fit melodically.
Well, right. So they developed the music for it and all the lines to the song, except for that one. And finally, somebody in the band.
I love my job.
Yeah,
it doesn't even fit.
Yeah, the lyrics weren't written by John Kay.
Mm.
The lyrics were written by another one of the band members.
Uh-huh.
But thing is that when as time progressed, they all signed off the royalties to John Kay because they wanted to tour and make music. Because as the 70s, the 80s developed and disco came about and all these different changes, they wanted to still make money. And they thought that the only way to do it would be to go play. Well, John Kay, he said, I'm not interested in touring, because he bought a big piece of property with his money. Mm-hmm. And he had plenty to do to keep himself busy on his ranch or on his property. And I think it was in Michigan or Minnesota.
Okay.
So they said, okay, well, his manager or his lawyers came up with release papers for them to sign that they would give up their royalties because they figured that there's no money left to be made. And I mean, he made millions on Magic Carpet Ride, and of course the one it's the big one, the one that everybody plays all the time, Born to Be Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, he didn't even write the lyrics of Born to Be Wild. But he makes all the royalties now. Now, when the cassettes came out, well, they had to renegotiate the contracts. Well, they didn't have to go and talk to the other band members, just him. When CDs came out, he got paid more money, on millions of dollars on top of that, and the other band members didn't get anything.
Oh my God!
And they were a little bit upset. I don't know if you read about or heard about that, but. He responded to their request for part of the royalties. You mean charity?
Oh, damn.
You want charity? And that's as far as that got. So I don't know.
Well, on the one hand, there's two factors on that, Martian.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, at the time that they made their deal, they made their deal and that was the deal. Like they were going to go out on tour, they were going to make the money that way, and he just wanted to make money off the royalties. And it sounds to me like they made agreements on both terms.
Well, they did. They signed off on the royalties, and so he didn't have to. It would have been charity for him to have renegotiated, and he had no any reason, because they did make money on the touring, without him, and so they did get paid, but. Nobody knew that there was going to be all these movies that would come out in the next 30 years or so.
So in my humble opinion, he just made the smarter business decision. It wasn't like those guys didn't make their money.
Well, yeah, they did make money, but they had to work for it.
Well, right, but that's what they wanted to do. So they made the deal they wanted to
exactly.
make. I don't feel sorry for those guys in that instance.
Well, it just depends on whose side you're on. If you're looking at it from the point of view of the musicians, they feel they got ripped. They also, the band went through a lot of band member changes too. So he also, one of the points that John Kay said, well, if I have to renegotiate, which are the members that I'm going to be renegotiating with? Yeah. There was they changed up the lineup in the band. Mm-hmm. About 5 times.
Right.
So, which group of musicians am I going to be renegotiating with?
Sure.
So, that's a good point there.
It's a very good point. Yeah.
So, by the time,
why give it? To say is like you got like the Romantics that don't get any royalties off What I Like About You because of how their manager negotiated the royalties for that song without them knowing about it. That's not the same thing as what it sounds like with Steppenwolf. Like with the Romantics, they deserve the royalties for What I Like About You because it's on all those commercials, all those movies.
Yeah.
You don't hear the other songs of theirs ever, really, except for Talking in Your Sleep, and they make royalties off that because they learned their lesson, but that song never gets used.
Well, here's a a classic example, the Black Magic Woman that Santana
covered this last week, yeah.
Right. You would think that that was their song, but Fleetwood Mac gets the majority of the royalties. They get some, by 10% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when they decided to record that song, they had to make a deal to do it, even though they changed the music on the background.
Yeah.
Now, nowadays, people don't even ask.
Okay, but why is it that people can't honor the deals they make? I don't get that.
Well, they have to, you know,
Yeah,
or else they go to court.
Right. So go to court and everything, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is, if you make a deal, you stick by it. I mean, that's not.
Oh yeah,
John Cale's fault.
No. I mean, I'm just saying that there's bands out there that they do what they call sampling.
Yeah.
You know, where they take
the rappers do that all the time. The hip hop artists, yeah.
But you don't see them, you know, having to go to court for it,
right?
Because it's only a piece of the music.
Right.
Now,
Yes.
there are groups like George Harrison. He had to pay.
He had to pay the Sean. Was it the Ronettes or was it the Supremes? He had to pay because of My Sweet Lord.
No, that wasn't. It was someone else that sent him a demo of the song. It was different words, and not even the music arrangement wasn't the same.
Okay.
He had kind of, but the new revised version that he came up with.
Yeah.
You know, he thought of it based on that. He probably may not have thought of it if he didn't have that as a basis, but he didn't have. He should have been stripped of the royalties of the entire song.
Yeah,
completely.
You're talking about My Sweet Lord.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Because whoever came up with "He's So Fine" said that he totally ripped them off and did a completely different.
Well, they won the case, but
they won the case. Yeah,
right. But this was back in early '70s.
Yeah,
a time like that. Here's another one. The Rolling Stones released their hit song "Start Me Up" in 1981, and Keith and Mick claim they used this type of music to do the background or backdrop. What was it? Jazz, reggae, rhythm and blues, or classical? You know the song "Start Me Up"?
Yeah. Boy, it sounds. I don't know. I would say that it doesn't have. I'm going to just guess jazz.
Well, that's what I would kind of say because it doesn't. But anyways, they claim it was reggae.
How? It doesn't have reggae.
I don't know. I mean, there's some other songs that they did that it's not quite the same. Okay, here's this one's kind of funny. It says "Walk This Way" by Aerosmith, released in 1975, was taken from a movie they saw at the cinema. What was it? Was it Young Frankenstein, The Wild Bunch, Bananas by Woody Allen, or White Lightning with, you remember White Lightning? It was with, who was the actor? Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, you remember?
Yeah, it's from that one, isn't it?
No, it's actually from Young Frankenstein.
Ah, darn. Okay.
Young Frankenstein. You remember when Marty Feldman with the hunchback?
Yeah.
He turns to I guess it was Gene Wilder or somebody, and he goes, "Okay, walk this way."
Yeah, and then he goes this.
To the side, and then they both walk like that. Anyways, they said Igor tells someone to walk this way with a hump on his back and limp. And it was a comedy song. They actually originally did it. It's also kind of interesting that a lot of the songs that, like "Walk This Way," "Back in the Saddle," a lot of them were done as a joke.
Back in the Saddle probably refers to Blazing Saddles, then, huh?
Well, they didn't say that exactly, but Steven Tyler said that he did that when he was on heroin.
That makes sense too.
But a lot of it was there was a lot of energy that was it in the attic? What was it?
Toys in the Attic.
Toys in the Attic. That album, they said it was a lot of anger involved because they were mad and upset about different things, mostly about like certain people's girlfriends and stuff that they You know, oh, they didn't come to practice, so they're, oh, that really makes me mad. or you know, or I don't know, it's just, certain people would, like say, for instance, Yoko Ono. You know, she turned 80 this week?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, 80. Paul McCartney, band Wings, released Band on the Run in 1973. Paul said the song is mainly about blank. What is it? Smoking pot and running from the law. 2, a rock band that has to run from their fans, like they did, the Beatles. A band that owes money from overspending, over budgeting, that's on the run. A band that's known for busting up hotels they stayed in, and the owners want them to pay before they leave town.
Those are the choices?
Yeah, those are the choices.
I'll say it's the over-budgeting one.
Well, that's pretty good, but anyways, it's number 1, smoking pot and running from the law.
Oh, okay.
It was all about, because you remember he got busted?
He got busted a few times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, but he claims that it was the band. It wasn't just him, that they were all trying to, and one of the points that he said was that, I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, for years and years, people wanted to drink, and that was okay. So we just want to smoke pot. You know, it's pretty much the same as far as being you know, good or bad for somebody. He claims it's the same. So, anyways, that was back about 30 years ago, and of course now it's a misdemeanor. You got to pay about $50.
30 years ago?
Yeah, about 30 years ago. I mean, there's people that had to do life sentences for the possession of pot.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the song.
Well, the song did come out in was it 1973?
Yeah, so that's 40 years ago.
Yeah, 40. Oh man, where did all the time go? Anyways, did that. All right, so I guess you have anything to add, because I think everyone did my hour.
Just that, I don't know if you remember, but there was one time you did this joke that I still laugh at whenever I think about it.
But it was one about the armor?
Yes.
You know?
You talked about how, I don't remember what the lead into that was, but it was something about Clydesdales.
Yeah, Clydesdale holsters. What were they originally used for? Was it, you know, were they used for delivering beer? You know, were they used for what their original uses were? Were they used for field, field plows in farming? And I said, or for armor, you know, for men going to battle. And then the answer was for war. They were a war horse, and they would put armor on. Of course, they wore the armored suits, and they put armor on the horse itself. And then I would say, and that's why we have armor all.
But the way you said it, you go, and that's why I always suggest armor all for people's cars. And then Steve and I looked at each other like, what the hell? And about a second later, we just busted up laughing.
Well,
that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite all-time Matthew J.R. Skaggs joke. Because it just wasn't the substance; it was also the style. It was how you delivered it.
Well, thank you very much, Ryan. And this week is a little bit different. It probably won't go on any. What do you call it? It won't be re-recorded and placed on any website. But it was good to do because I got a chance to do my commercials. Now here's another one that I did last week. You probably remember. Geeks, freaks, web crawlers, moonshine dwellers, urban suburbans, whoever you are you tired of your old gold that takes all your time dusting and cleaning and protecting from the gold fairy? You're not alone. Somebody is watching you, watching me. Do you know that when I said that to some kids at a party, there were kids watching. I was seeing it to this other one kid that was having a party, and they were watching. I'm like, wow, I didn't know I was doing that ahead of time. Somebody is watching you, watching me. Like right now, you're watching me on the video. Well, there's somebody in the room watching you, watching me. How do I know that? Now, you don't need to live in fear. Call me today. We'll take your pain away at turnmyoldgoldintoplastic.com. Hurry, our tenants are waiting by the phone right now. Oh, you're undecided about your old gold and what to do with it? Does it smell buttery? Like peanut butter, dish soap, or tractor grease? Don't worry, that's normal for a normal person. But who's to say what's normal? Is it normal to live in fear? To smell like sausage? Of course not. Let me help you take that pain away. Call today. Turn my old gold into plastic.com. Hurry, there's no time to waste. Make that call now. Tell them Tyrone Shoelaces sent you. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week. Have you taken a good look in the mirror lately? Well, I wouldn't try it if I were you either. Those bloodshot eyes, dark, spotty, baggy lids, it looks like you haven't slept a wink in ages. Well, let Tyrone Shoelaces take your pain away. Let me help you. You deserve better than that, don't you? Turn my old gold into plastic.com. That's it. Bye-bye. See you next week. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Steve, wherever you are. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.